the way that I live my life, people can see it as boring. Like, you should do this, you should do that. And for me, it's like going out or doing stuff is neither good or bad.
No,
it's a preference.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, when I hear that, I see that, I'm like, I kind of double down. It's like, fuck it, like, I'm boring. Like, I'm probably the most boring person that you're gonna know or you're gonna encounter.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. I know we were going over certain topics, and one of the topics that we kind of liked and caught our attention that we were going over with right now is coping with social expectations. And I know we're going to be discussing about men, young men, because I know we're men, and then we're kind of young, not anymore.
Yeah,
but
there's new kids on the block. I remember when we were still in our teens, in our early 20s, like, oh, you're so young.
People used to tell us, dude.
But now it's kind of, we're past that stage. We're in we're in our mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
And we're not the young kids anymore. We're not the young kids. There's actually like 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are
fucking killing it, dude.
But that's beyond the point. There's new kids on the block, but sorry. I just... Yes.
Yeah, because I know when we were that age, 18, 19, 20, I know social media was still pretty new. That's crazy. It was new, huh?
Yep.
So I know it wasn't as big as it is right now. There wasn't a lot of people wanting to be influencers. I don't think influencers was a thing. Yeah, it was a thing back in the day. And that was 2012, 2013, 2014.
Yep.
It wasn't really a thing. But now I know, especially with social media, you want to be an influencer. You go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you go on YouTube. You see people, doing crazy things.
Yeah.
So you see either they're having crazy businesses or they're doing traveling. Or they're doing some YOLO stuff, meaning like, kids being kids. I
think it's something that a lot of people face, like peer pressures, like social peer pressures. Like how I was telling you, for example, our age or even when we were younger, there's probably times where people said, you're young, let's go out.
Yeah.
Or let's go, or not, don't work so hard. Even, I know, and even coming from a good place, from probably people that we care about, telling us, maybe you shouldn't work that hard. Like, you're working hard. Like,
yep.
Like, like maybe like want to cool it down. And not in a bad way. It's more for the health of us, more than, coming from a bad place. And so that's another peer pressure that I think either you and I or, have encountered.
Yeah, we faced it. But like you mentioned, it does come from a place of experience. Because I know...
Yeah.
Especially with the older people who say that is because they themselves are working at a job where it's really laborious and it's pretty much just not killing them but breaking them like day by day. And so it's based on their own experience that they tell you, like, man, you just enjoy your juventud, enjoy your youth.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of that, peer pressures, social expectations, and so like. At least on your end, have you ever faced any like type of social peer pressure expectations as to someone told you, dude, you're young, or let's go out, or maybe like drugs, alcohol, maybe you've encountered where maybe you're expected to do something bad. I know we definitely and this is you still remember it, like in high school with the pool. Yeah. We didn't need to go there, like, and it was just something bad, but maybe we could dive into it later. We kind of fell into that pressure, but granted, it was fun.
I guess, we could discuss what happened.
Yeah, so I know in high school, our high school was next to a park that had a pool, but I know the pool wasn't open yet.
Yep.
It was, I think, right before summer or at the beginning of summer, and it wasn't open yet. And so I don't know how, like, we were playing soccer, and I don't know how it came about that let's jump over the fence and into the pool.
Yep.
I don't know how or why.
I think it just led to one thing to another. It's just like, hey, we should probably go in there, and it's just going back and forth, and
technically it was illegal, I think, right?
I don't know.
Because the police came afterwards.
Yeah.
And technically it was wrong, because there's no lifeguard. Someone could have died.
Yup.
But
it's crazy because I understand if it's one or two people, but it ended up being like people that wouldn't normally do it.
Yeah, people normally wouldn't do that. But it's because I think the pressure... And the thing is that no one told anyone to do it.
No.
It's just like, it looked fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was fun. And we jumped over the fence. We got in the pool. And I think that the park people called the police and
were called. Yeah, because they did show up.
They showed up. And but But and so that's one of like as an example of the peer pressures that probably you can face, maybe indirectly, maybe no one told you to do it, but because everyone's doing it, you feel the need to actually do it.
Yeah, because it also didn't feel legal. It was just like we didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just like no one's telling you directly to do it. It's just because everyone else is doing, you think it's not wrong or not bad.
Yeah, and yeah, you don't see like the negative consequence of it. Like no one saw them like someone potentially dying or drowning.
Yeah. Yep.
No one saw that. They just saw the funness of it.
Someone did fail, remember?
Yeah, but no one died.
No one died, and then someone cut his hand.
Yeah.
Because the fence it had, like, it was very sharp, and he just cut his hand. So that happened too. And then remember that was one guy who couldn't get out.
No? It was fun, but it was the peer pressure.
It was
not indirectly. I mean, not directly. It was indirectly. But I know there's, and so in that situation, I think it was more that because we also wanted to do it. But I know, but there's probably instances where maybe you have had that issue, or not issue, but so, and it doesn't even have to be anything like towards that. It's just, have you faced any of that type of pressure or social expectations as you should be doing this because so and so, or because that's just the way it is?
Oh, I have two instances.
And if so, like, and then afterwards, if like, how did you cope with that?
Yeah. Well, at least off the top of my head, I have two instances. One of them is college and, school, pretty much with teachers. And then the other one is with, because we're in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles tends to be very Latino, Hispanic. And I know there's a lot of quinceañeras, you get invited, or even parties. And so I know it's very normal. It is really normal in Los Angeles that, people start drinking, kids, even though it's a freaking quinceañera, quinceañera is like pretty much like sweet 16s. Yeah. And so like it's just hey, here's a beer, or here's a drink it. Yeah. Like it has come across. Like I've never done it though. In high school, like I think it was only after I was 18 or 19 that. But during high school, it has come across, but it went back to the way I grew up, and then also being like very in sports, being active, that no me llamaba la atención, like it didn't catch my attention. So I have come across it, and it's just pretty much because I know we did a previous episode, but it was with my core values. It was just like nothing, like even though if they offered it, if they call me like like you're weak, you're a girl, you're chicken, I still wouldn't do it. And it was because like I was true to my principles, and I was true to like I'm not interested. Like it doesn't even catch my attention. And I know for other people it can be that way. That especially with guys, that you're with the guys, they're like, hey, you should do this. Like, hey, it'll be funny if we do this. But
no, in that at least with that, similar situations where like alcohol was. Luckily, I never came across like the real bad ones, like the hard drugs. Yeah. But I know with alcohol, that was something that similarly I came across it. And I think I had a different way of coping with it. Because I've seen a lot of people that do sports, they still do it. For me, more than anything, it was my mom that really instilled that it's bad. Yeah. It's, there's good and bad. And so me looking at it as a bad thing, I think is what allowed me to cope with that, if that makes sense. Or pretty much just not do it. Like, it's a bad thing. Like my mom, like from and also from the bad experiences that from maybe like the people that we know, like maybe like she experienced, like not necessarily with her but maybe with other people. Alcohol only brings and maybe they only say the bad things, and that's something that I think that's something we've experienced too. Like people that have drink, maybe they're not in the best state of mind, and so seeing that my mom instilling that it's bad, I saw that and it's like, it's bad, so I'm not even gonna touch it. Like how you said, like I don't really care like what people tell me, because of just how, and this is how I perceived it and how I cope with it. It's bad. I'm not gonna do something that's bad. I'm not gonna hurt someone. I'm not gonna kill someone. It's bad, and so I came from that frame that it's a bad thing. So that's why I didn't do it. If I didn't think it was, if I thought it was either or, I probably would have. Even though if I was in sports, like I probably would have. But because my mom really instilled that it's bad, that's why I didn't do it. And so that's one of the things that at least how I was able to not do it. And as you get older, things change. I've taken a sip, more than a sip, and it's not necessarily bad. And at least for me, it's only and because I tend to be introverted,
Mm-hmm.
it just helps with like that, just kind of loosening up and just not being there. Like I don't know what to say, because I think when you're in that state,
Yeah.
you're able to just not be interested, but you're like, it's easier. You loosen up.
You do, yeah.
And then so like just in those instances, but other than that, like I don't have the need. I don't feel like
No.
I like
Yep.
like that's the only instances
Yep.
where I would in it. And granted, that's one of the things that I need to get better at, for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
But like aside from that, like those instances, I don't have the urge. Or
Yeah,
need.
but even now, if we go to a gathering, if we really don't want to, we like, no one's gonna force us.
No.
Even though like I'm not in sports anymore, even though I'm not active.
Yeah.
Like I could easily say I'm not active no more. Fuck it, I'm just gonna continue drinking. Or and to this day I haven't even tried any drugs.
Yeah. Nope.
No
Neither
drugs.
have I.
I haven't even smoked weed or anything.
No.
Nothing of that. And it goes back to because it just doesn't catch my attention. Like maybe people like it, people enjoy it because it soothes them down, or they want to try something else. But at least for me, it's because I don't like it. No one's gonna force me to do it. I mean, if they drug me or roofing me, it's a different thing. But
so yours come from more of a place that it doesn't like catch your interest.
yeah, and the thing is that it doesn't catch my attention, and then no one is gonna convince me, or no one's gonna pressure me, and it goes back to like just who you are and be true to yourself.
Yeah, and then I think with that, that's one way of like I the reason, like I think the main reason, like for example, that I wouldn't do it is because I see it as bad, and so I come from that frame. Which there's different ways to cope with that, like or not do certain things, with the peer pressures or the social expectations that people hold. Like I see it as bad, and so hence why I feel like a person that is I want to feel like I'm a good person.
Yeah,
and so like
but
it's bad.
Also you're not describing or depicting it, but you're coming from a place that it's bad based on like how you grew up and pretty much everything because other people, they're born into that life, they're born into like an environment full of alcohol, full of drugs, and then, they find it normal, they don't think it's bad.
Right. Hence why I was saying like that's a different way to cope. Like you cope with like it just doesn't catch your interest.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And for me, I
okay,
define
yeah.
it, and me, I define it as bad. Like,
yeah, no, that's fair.
And so like in the same way, and the thing is that what for other people is going to be different. It may be different. Like some people could look at it as bad. Some people could look at it as part of their life,
that's
and
true.
Others could just say, well, it doesn't interest me. Like it's just like it's like if I'm just some other random stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really like it's different, and that's the way I cope. And hopefully, like with the different ways that we've described as how we cope or how we deal with those expectations, maybe people could find some like quote unquote inspiration. And then I look at it as bad. Other people might not, but then they, like, for example, let's say maybe as an example, you might not look at it as bad, but it just doesn't interest you, or it doesn't fit into like your goals and ambitions. For example, like you're in sports.
Yeah,
that definitely doesn't fit, so that's why you're not gonna do it. Not because you don't see it as bad, but because it doesn't fit into it. And so like there's different ways of coping. And now, like for me at least now, still the good and bad still kind of help me deal with those pressures.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like going against the grain, if it makes any sense. Assuming that it's going against the grain is the good part, because I know like at least another like example on my end is. Or even like, I guess example like people, not people, but the way that I live my life, people can see it as boring. Like you should do this, you should do that, and for me it's like going out or doing stuff is neither good or bad.
No,
it's a preference.
Yeah.
And so for me, like when I hear that, I see that, I'm like, I kind of double down. It's like, fuck it, like I'm boring. Like I'm probably the most boring person that you're gonna know or you're gonna encounter. And so it's kind of going against the grain, because also like also being like a homebody or like not wanting to go out a lot per se. Like there's times I don't want to go out, like just but it's neither good or bad or either. And so like at least for me, because and it comes also with the confidence that you build through time.
Yep.
Like I know what I am. Like people could like, and there was this instance where like I know it was like mistaken, but someone said, "Oh, you're trash." But it was because like my duties this week was trash duties.
Yeah.
So hey Juan, you're trash.
Yeah, and then I'm the one
and then someone like damn. and then I think everyone else heard the you're trash, and then they're like damn. And for me, like like I know what I am. Like you could call me anything. Like I know what I am. I know what I am. Like, and so like it comes with that confidence. And so like if people tell me like you should do this or should be like, no, like even if like I'm perceived as something else, like I personally know what I am. I know what I'm about. Like you said, I know my core values. What at least for me is good and or bad, and I'm gonna stick to it regardless of what people think because I know what I am.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's just it just is. That's the thing. It just is. Meaning that, and I guess just adding on to it is that I know people say that if you want to stay home and then other people like to go out, that maybe you could be perceived as boring or you're boring, but it's because they want you to do the same things they do. They're basing it off their experience, and that's one of the persons that I heard. Ermozy, is just that. When people tell you to do certain things or live a certain way, it's because they want you to live their own life.
Yep.
So if people like going out, hey, you should go out more. You should party more. You're young. You should do this. It's because they themselves, they want to instill those, the way of thinking or those principles based on you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. And it goes back like, there's a lot of things. So there's a lot of ways of coping with it. Like how you mentioned.
Also, for example, like on your end, like it's just like maybe it doesn't fit into your goals, or for example, you're indifferent to it and it doesn't catch your interest. That's one. And then the other one, like social at least for me, and I think it comes from like well, I know from a young age, like my mom say that's bad. Like it comes from it's good or bad. A good like social expectations and whatnot like that I would follow because it's good. Be healthy, eat the right stuff. That's something that I would go because I define it and I see it as something good. But in the contrary, or in the on the other side, drugs, alcohol, bad stuff like that. I see it as bad. So because I like to think myself, and because I want to live like a life that is as good as possible. I'm gonna make my decisions based off on that, by that framework. And so and I do see that a lot in like people that are religious, good or bad, a lot of them, like in general, that's the the concept of it. Even though people sometimes don't do that, they live life but having that like that good or bad, at least for me, has helped me make the cope with those expectations. Like as much like as for example like we could be famous, like, but you had to do these certain rituals or these certain satanic things, like those pressures to do those things. I see it as bad. I don't care how much better my life will get. I see that as a bad thing, so I'm not gonna do. And so that's how I would personally like. That's really like easy and straightforward. Bad, I'm not gonna do bad. Good, I'm gonna do good.
Well, what about playing the other side is that they don't see it as bad,
and that's perfectly fine. And I think it comes from the individualistic, and I think it also comes from it as like you could say the moral standpoint, from like from God, religion, you could say. I come up from it from that end. And so like and for people, like they're on the individuals, they're responsible for their own lives. So like they can if they want to. I won't see it. I just don't like. And I guess so like what if people don't see it as bad?
Yeah, because there's different examples. Like, how some people, they're, like I mentioned, they're just born into that environment or grow up or molded into that. So take hunting, for example. Some people are willing to go hunting, killing them to eat the food, while others they're not. So is killing an animal for food good or bad? Some people perceive it as it's just life, it's just nature, it is what it is, and it really is part of nature.
It is.
It's just the natural process of how life is and how things are. Other people see it as like you're killing an animal.
No, and 100%. And so like I guess with that I come from it from like how there's moral objectives, like
and I think
objective morals.
Because there's some things that pretty much is based on like the way you think and the way you are, but I think for the most part there's certain things that as a whole people agree that some things are bad and some things are good. Like I probably wouldn't unalive someone or kill someone.
Probably I think across the board.
Across the board. So stuff like that, like doing hard drugs, like messing up your body.
Across the board that's bad. You're not.
But other things maybe like drinking. Some people see it as normal. Like, you're probably doing it to yourself, unless you're drunk driving and, like, causing accidents. Then that's perceived as bad. But
so like I come from it from like the there's objective good and objective bad.
Yeah.
And the thing with that is that it doesn't come from and then okay, this is probably gonna go into like more of a different topic, but there's objective, at least how we perceive it, objective good and objective bad.
Yeah.
And so I try to live by the objective good. That's the thing. I try. Obviously there's probably situations where I don't.
No one's perfect.
Yeah, and so I come from for that point of view, and like if other people have other point of views, that's that's perfectly fine. Like there's nothing okay. Well, there's wrong. Like they're either like with drugs killing themselves, or like living a life that is not even conducive to their better future. If that makes any sense. Like they're spending all their money, or they could see it as indifferent. But at least for me, that's something that has helped me deal with the social pressures, like having that foundation, the moral like objectives, and then making decisions based off on that. Okay. Even though no one's perfect.
Yeah, and so that's based on people in general. Because I know the second thing I wanted to touch up on is that we both experience. Mm-hmm. I know on your end, and it's very prevalent to young individuals, people wanting them to go to college. Or further education. Yeah. I know you dropped out. Yep. I didn't even apply to college. I didn't even attend at all.
Oh, you were like one day and then you
did. And that was after, because I know like
that's true.
That was to learn mechanical stuff. So I only went to one class. That was probably like when I was 21, 22.
But what the purpose was for, no?
Yeah, and it was to start a business.
And then I was gonna go to the Audi body shop. Yep. Like you were doing the mechanical and I was doing the exterior, and so like it was to start a business, not to
start a business. Yep. And so I know it's hard to go against a lot of people. If you really don't want to go to college, if you do want to start your own business, become an entrepreneur, or do something else. People are going to tell you, no, you should go to school. At least go to school, get your diploma, get your higher education. And then, after that, just you could do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. For us, it was also, not that it was pushed, but it was highly encouraged. And I know it's coming from a place that, coming from a different country and having to work to be able to feed yourself. Now coming to a country where education is important. And the way you progress is through education. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of kids face that too. And kids, I mean like, young adults. That they're pressured, or they someone wants them, either a teacher or a parent wants them to go to college. How did you go about, just dropping out? Because I know you're almost finished. You're halfway there. People could tell you you're halfway there. Yeah. Just finish it. But you dropped out.
Yeah. And so for that one, I think I was also influenced by, like the organization that we were with. That was a big influence. And also because I saw another... when I experienced more stuff, like when you're in school, that's all you experience, that's all that's pretty much everything that you know. Yeah. But when you experience other stuff, like for example, when you come across, let's say, a trades person that's like just went to school for 2 years, like a plumber, and making already 80, 90, 100,000 a year. When you experience like business, like people that have become successful through business. And then like in other situations where you don't like they were successful not because of school. When you experience that, and that kind of helped me to see like, okay, there's more than just school. And so at least that helped me understand that school wasn't the only thing. And even if people try to persuade me or influence me as go to school because it's the only way, the fact that I saw other things is what helped me. Yep. Kind of like you could say like cope with that, strong like push towards school.
Yeah, that actually makes sense, because they're coming from a place, especially teachers, they're coming from a place that they went to school to become a teacher, and that's all they know. Yeah.
They don't know the real world, like not that it's not real world, but you had to provide value to people in order to generate income.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we understand that now. Yep. But I know, because it was kind of the same for me. Mm-hmm. That I didn't even apply to go to college. I know I was being pressured by the counselors, by the teachers. They're like, dude, what? Just go to college. Yeah. And it's the same organization, World Financial Group. Yeah. Dude, I went to those events. I was watching people like they don't even know how to speak like proper English. Like they were not stuttering, but they had very broken English.
Yep.
Like you could barely understand them. They were
Yep.
freaking making money.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, like if they could do it, why can't I? Like
Yeah.
they're not tech savvy.
Yep.
They don't know English as well as they can.
Yep.
But they're making money, dude.
Yep.
And so like just looking at that, it kind of like shattered my beliefs of what's possible and what's not.
Yep.
If a teacher told me like you're not gonna make money if you don't go to college, nope.
Mm.
I saw this person do
Yeah.
this, now I'm
Yeah.
able to do it. And I think it was similar for both of us.
Yeah, because then for some people, when that's all, like, it's hard to break out of that because that's really all they know. That's what they know to be successful, to make money. And so like, but experiencing like other truths, you could say. I don't want to even say truths because nowadays like it's my truth. No, it's not. It's not. There's an objective truth, but when you experience other like things or other like pathways to success, I feel like, and when you understand that there's other options, I feel like it's a lot easier to cope with that pressure of going to school. So I guess just going out in the world and experiencing stuff in the good way, not in the good way.
That's true. That is true.
Because you could go out and experience like a lot of shit. Experience like, fuck it. Work for free for
Volunteer.
Volunteer. Like, hey, for this company, can I sweep? Can I make things like at your office, at your warehouse? Like, like experience that, and then you'll see that there's a lot of there's like the whole world is in school. The whole world is in school. And so we've experienced a lot more than just school. In fact, we've experienced more outside than within school.
Yeah.
We didn't go to school for business. I think we're doing pretty well for not going to business school. For not going to business school, I think we're doing pretty good. And it just came through experience.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I would have liked to done. I would have liked to have done while still in high school. Maybe volunteer more, experience more real world life stuff.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have built up some skills that could have helped me, or network with people that later on, like I volunteer. Some places I meet people. Now I want to start my business, or I want to go into a trade school. Now like it's a lot easier because I know these people. I have these connections.
And so definitely I think that's one to like.
But that's on the school end, huh?
On the school end.
What about like your parents telling you directly? And I know like it's a lot different when it's a teacher versus a parent. Yeah,
well, I think with your parents, like I think you would have to show them. If that makes any sense. Like for us, my parents, like even when we started doing a little bit good, they were like, you don't think about going back to school?
Yeah.
Like, but then it's once we brought the proof, like fuck, okay, they have their own house now. My mom doesn't have to work anymore.
Yep.
Like when all this, like okay, like. And I think it comes through time. I know it's going to be very hard. Like the pressures might be a lot. And that's the thing. Like the pressure is going to be a lot. And I think people, at least for me, I don't have like a straight up answer to like how to deal with the parents that constantly tell you. Because I know sometimes the influence of the parents is like super strong, like extremely strong, where they tell you to do something and you do it. And so, and then I guess with that also just having, and so I guess one way to combine it just off the top of my head is like, by having confidence in yourself and building confidence in yourself, even if it's not related to like school or work, like just doing like stuff, like for example sports, being good at it. When you do something, be good at it, because you know that if you do it and you do it well, it could translate to other areas. And so like if you choose not to go to school and you choose to, for example, pursue business or another career or plumbing, you're more than likely than not you're going to be good at it. And so yourself, you have that confidence in yourself that you're going to do it in spite of, for example, a strong influence telling you like to do something else. Yeah. So just building up that confidence, doing like being the best at what you do across the board, I think will help you build that confidence to even say no to, like, let's say a parent.
Yeah, because I don't know if I want to play devil's advocate, but like
no, definitely, I think it's a good one. I think
it's a good because it's like, okay, not that it's easier said than done, and this is just to put myself in the perspective of the other person. All my life, I haven't had the confidence. Like, I honestly don't know if I could do it. Like, it's easier said than done. Go against your parents, but you have to actually, like, show them how, the way you're doing it, like, is actually working for you and you're being successful in the direction you're going with. I don't have that confidence. I don't have that mental power, that will to kind of just tune them out.
Yeah, and then with that one, and I think we've heard this from the Hormozis, is removing yourself from that environment. As hard as it might seem, but removing yourself from that environment. Because you know how like Hormozy, like he has that fucking go to like school, career, have a good and he had such an influence on him that he did that until he just he moved completely out to where his dad couldn't really tell him anything. Like that's what he did. He removed himself from the environment of his dad. And so that's what worked for him. Because imagine, like, if he still kind of was around his dad or his dad, probably he would have, I don't know, maybe, like, well, from what he said, he said he probably, and I don't know if he said it like that, but buckle and just, do kind of what his dad says. Yeah. But because he removed himself from that environment, he just said, fuck it. And he just moved to all the way across
because I also think, because I could also say, like, man, like, it's easier said than done again. Because, okay, how am I going to remove myself from the environment when my parents are feeding me, when they're providing shelter? Like, if I remove myself from there, I have to get out of the house. Now I can't even work, and I still need to go to school. So there's a lot of what ifs. Yeah. With that.
No, yeah, with that, I know it's, like, very hard. Like, where are you going to stay? Yeah. And that's, like, maybe, like, your friends? Like, I know there's, like, for example, I forgot who. I think it was an influencer. Like, they lived on the street. I'm not saying to live on the street because that can be dangerous, especially where you live. Yeah. But finding a way, and I think everyone has a way. Like it could be with friends, it could be with other family, it could be with, maybe you have a car and sacrificing a little.
I guess I know we talked about pretty much the pressures of social, with friends and peers, and then also maybe like career wise or how you should live your life. Because there's other topics we could go into, maybe like how you should live your life. Yeah. How you should get married young. You should get, you should wait until you're 30. You should wait until your career is over to get married, to have kids. There's a lot of, topics we could go into. But I know we touched up on two, which is school career-wise, and then also pretty much with friends, socializing. How would you summarize ways to pretty much ignore that or to not fall into that pressure? Just, a quick recap of something that people could do, something that we've done, both you and I, that can help, the person who's watching. Yeah,
and so like how I said, like there's different ways of coping with it. I think this is the way that you have coped and I have coped. I know, for example, let's say given the situations of, let's say, social pressures, like drinking and drugs and whatnot, I think for example, I think for you, I think it's if it doesn't fit within your goals or within like what you want to accomplish, that's an easy one as to not.
Yeah, yes. And then also adding on to that, I think at this point now, it was like this before, but now it's like 10 times, 100 times. No one's going to tell me what to do, in the sense that no one can influence me to do something I don't want to. Like, I will be true to myself and to my beliefs.
Yeah. And then at least for me, what kind of helped me was the fact that I perceive certain things as good and bad. And that's not just the perception. I guess like the objective good and bad. I try to live by that frame of, this is something good, so I'll do it. This is something bad, so I won't do it. That's something that like, and then it's, at least with that, I think it's, how some people don't perceive it as good or bad? I think that's easier. In this, I guess restating it, because like I'm trying to like get it together, but having, I guess, your like you could say like your own what do you call it now, ethics, the values, living by your own values.
What if, like, as a whole, society thinks something is good, or like maybe just everyone thinks something is good, but you don't want to do it?
Okay, I see.
Are you still gonna do it because it's good, even though you don't want to?
And societally, no. Even if people think it's good, no, because I have like my foundation coming from a place of faith.
Yeah, and it goes back to like you said right now, faith, and then it could also be core values.
The core values, which in that sense, that would be subjective.
That will fall into the faith. Wow. Okay, you said subjective.
That would be because you probably have, like, let's say you have different values than from someone else, like Hitler, that has his own, like.
That's fair.
So like the ones that you like, they do not change. They do not change whatsoever, regardless of what happens in the world. They stay the same.
No, okay.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. And so that
well, we could get into deeper, because I know some religions and it's just gonna go off tangent. But some religions,
No, we definitely could go in.
They have certain, beliefs or certain.
Maybe that could be a next topic, but maybe it doesn't have to go. But
yeah, like religions can have their own, set of principles. Like there's the religion of satanic principles and whatnot.
Yeah, the Satanist.
It's a religion.
Right, and that's I guess with that going more specific in God and in the Bible and Jesus. Going based upon that, and that's the foundation. Because this is probably for another podcast, because it's gonna go in further. And then it's also coming from a place that I obviously don't know everything or don't know even
we're still
much.
Learning. We're still learning.
But yeah, and so coming just having your good and bad as to that can help you cope with the social pressures, and I guess going back to the example in Germany, like even though they tell you to snitch on the Jew or on the certain race, you have your good and bad. That's not good, so I'm not gonna do it, regardless of the social pressure, regardless of the consequences that may happen to me because of me hiding people, or so going based off on the good and bad. And so that I feel like that can help. My friends tell me to do drugs. That's bad, so I'm not gonna do it. And so having that foundation, so at least for the social.
Yeah, because since we're talking about religion, it kind of I know it's very talked about in the Bible, but
that's the thing. Should we make it another topic? Because we're talking about social pressure and then we're talking about religion.
But it was going into social pressure.
Okay.
No. But I guess we'll cut it out. But it was pretty much the mark of the beast, and how people there.
Yeah.
It says they're gonna be forced to do certain things, but you're gonna be true to your religion.
Yep. 100%. And when some of the things are Neuralink. Yeah. So I wouldn't.
I guess that's for another topic then.
Okay. And then how do you call it? And then for the school, the college, and whatnot. I know some people, that's all they know. That's something that people just think that that's the only way. And then the way that you kind of came out, pretty much not combative, but had a different point of view. I had a different point of view is because we experienced things outside of school that these guys didn't go to school. These guys, let's say they just went to trade school. These guys, or maybe they just worked, they just learned on the job.
Yeah.
They didn't even go to school. They just learned to be a mechanic. They just learned to, they didn't, go to school for that. And so because we saw other things, we experienced other things that was contrary to the, the main belief of the norm of school. That's kind of what, allowed us to, let's not go to school. And because we also had the confidence in ourselves to be able to do it. And then let's say we didn't have the confidence. I think just by doing and trying to be the best at what you do, I think it's going to be hard for you not to be the best at what you do if you're trying to be the best at what you do. And so with that, you build confidence, and then and then seeing other things, you're able to break off of that norm, and then removing yourself from the bad environments. And so, but yeah,
I guess just to recap everything, because I know that was very well explanation.
No, so I mean that's pretty much it. That's how we cope with the peer pressures and the social expectations that people expect from us. But I know everyone has their own way.
Yeah.
And so with that, let us know how you have coped with any of the pressures that you've experienced. Let us know in the comments down below. And so with that being said, hopefully this was a long but helpful podcast. But this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.